I'm going to talk about something today that for some of you is going to be brain dead obvious, but for others it might be a revelation. The DM is not out to get you. The DM is not the enemy of the players. The DM, in fact, wants the players to succeed, or should. Not always the case. There's a school of thought with regards to DMing that sort of is a lot more antagonistic, adversarial even, towards the players, where the DM doesn't want the players to have anything that's overpowered. And the problem there, of course, is that there are things that are overpowered in the sense that they're going to ruin the game. They make one character shine more than the others, and it can create main character syndrome and all that. It's a legitimate concern sometimes, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, like, you have something that's kind of cool that you're doing all the time, and that's unacceptable. So as a DM, I'm going to take that away or ruin it or intentionally subvert it so that you're not able to really enjoy it to its fullest extent. This strikes me as odd because when I'm running D&D, I am never more thrilled than when my players are thrilled. I want all my players to have cool stuff, to all be doing cool stuff all the time, because that's when it is most fun for them, and therefore, that's when it's most fun for me. Which is why I kind of came to the conclusion that it's like one of the reasons why I really go for 4th edition, because everyone has cool stuff all the time. In particular, I wanted to talk about defender abilities. If you've ever run a 4th edition campaign and the parties had, say, a fighter in it, paladin, Warmind, whatever, or Battlemind, any of the defender characters, the defender is going to be moving out there and it's going to be imposing itself on the battlefield. Now, people, in my experience, have poo-pooed the tunnel fighter fighting style in 5th edition for being overpowered. It's ridiculous. It makes the fighter way too powerful on the battlefield. But it's not that different from sort of the baseline defender presence, where they're going to be going out, this is including with the sentinel feat and everything. Like, it very much is reminiscent of having the defender step out on the battlefield and say, deal with me. I am the threat here. And that's really cool, because as the DM, I'm running the monsters. There's no aggro system. I decide who they attack. Now, I'm looking at the situation and saying, well, I could attack the fighter, or I can provoke the fighter's opportunity attacks and try to go after another target. Either way, you're kind of doing what the player wants, which is really cool. Because if you attack the fighter's like, oh yes, I am a tank. I am now drawing a threat away from my party onto myself. This is good. Or the monsters are going to be like, nah, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to go for a softer target over here. And then the fighter goes like, all right, well, free attack on you. That's also really cool. And it occurred to me that having defenders in the party is really fun for me, because I'm going to pull back the curtain here a little bit. I'm going to say, oh no, for my monsters, and be like, oh shoot, I hate that. I hate that you do that. Those kinds of things. I don't actually hate it. I love it. I can't get enough of it, to be honest. It's so cool to watch the player characters be awesome in a game that allows them to be awesome. And I don't understand DMs who don't want that. Except that I guess I could see the case for them having never experienced it, and they being told that it's a bad thing. And so they want to avoid it at all costs. Should I restrict this ability? Is this overpowered? Should I not allow this? Should I ban this? It's a lot of self-limiting and limiting the fun of others to make the game more manageable, particularly in 5th edition. Because you'll never see that in 4th, as far as I've ever seen. And it's just a different approach to, character abilities. Now, I don't think I've ever seen anyone who like straight up bans a full class in 5th edition. But like, let's say you were to say, like, oh, we're going to ban wizards because wizards are overpowered. Now, wizards are overpowered. That's true. Wizards are far and away the best caster in the game. But banning wizards is saying like, oh, that is too much fun for my players. Like, it's kind of a no-win situation, to be honest. Like, you either have wizards and they can break the game, or you don't have, and you say like, oh no, we're banning wizards, and you're like, no, now I'm the jerk. Like, there's no winning there. It's more a case of DMs banning things that don't need to be banned. The tunnel fighter fighting style, like decrying it as overpowered. It's ridiculous. It's probably, I would say probably 4 times out of 5 or more. It's a matter of just having heard that it's overpowered and not really thinking about it yourself. Not going through the steps of like, okay, well, how is this going to look in practice in the game? What's this going to look like on a moment by moment, turn by turn basis? And realizing that like, oh, actually, them being really powerful allows me to turn up the dials and really go all out. I don't need, because here's something I hate. I hate having to pull my punches. I hate having a feeling like if these creatures act the way that they should act, then I'm going to kill the party and then the game is going to be over. That's a fail state for everybody, including myself. So having really powerful player characters allows me to say, all right, these monsters are going to make good tactical decisions. They're going to make the best possible decisions from their, for like, they're trying to win. They're trying to win. And so that allows me to go ham on the player characters and be pretty confident that the player characters are going to come out on top. And this extends to non-D&D-esque games. The Blades in the Dark series, or not series, but the Blades in the Dark family of games. You have so many tools for mitigating risk, mitigating consequences, for like, even if you fail a roll, it's probably not going to be that bad unless you're okay with it being that bad, right? And that's fine, because now as a GM, I can say, all right, I'm going to throw some real serious shit at you. I'm going to be harsh. I'm going to be brutal with, the adversaries that you are up against want you dead, and they have the tools to do it. But you are now player characters, and as player characters, you have certain narrative advantages. It like me being able to go all out as the game master is so liberating, and it makes the game more fun. Yeah. It's that kind of approach. Like that's how I view the relationship between the GM and the players in a game that allows them to be powerful, versatile, dangerous. That like it's liberating. It's more fun for me as a GM when my players are powerful, because it allows us to have a more, I guess, respectful, is that a good word for this? Like we can approach each other on more even terms. Now, obviously, as the GM, like, I can make whatever monsters I want. I can say, oh, you're level 5. You're a very powerful level 5 party. Well, here's a level 10 monster. You're dead anyways. Like, so, like, there's still that like responsibility as the GM to make sure that the encounters are reasonable. But as far as like making decisions for the monsters turn by turn, it allows me a lot more freedom when I know that the players can handle it. And making the player characters powerful is a big part of that. Some systems do that, some systems don't. A lot of, like, 5th edition doesn't really. The OSR family of games that's coming out, like, they largely don't. As they say, combat is a failure state in those games, as a general rule. The fantasy Vietnam feel is like, oh, the player characters might die at any moment. I hate that. As a GM, I hate that. The threat of a TPK is the threat of the campaign suddenly ending if things don't go well. I don't want that kind of pressure on me. I want to roll some dice. I want to have big, scary monsters that get beaten. I want the players to win. And I think basically every good GM wants the players to win. And so I don't see the appeal of playing a system where the players not winning is a pretty significant possibility at all stages of play. So that's my thoughts on player character power and why I prefer defenders to be in the game, because defenders, so for some reason, defenders stand out as like the role that feels the most powerful on the table. Like you might not be putting out the numbers that strikers do. You might not be, lifting up the entire party onto your shoulders like leaders do. And you might not be creating those big momentum swings like controllers do. But as a defender, your power, your influence on the battlefield, your influence on monster decisions is probably the most evident. So I love running for defenders. It's literally like it's my most favorite type of role to interact with as a GM for a variety of reasons, as I have just detailed many of. So anyways, that's me. And now I'm sweating because it's hot. Did you guys know it's hot? It's hot out here. Bye.